Welcome to our deep dive into the world of solo leveling. Today we'll unravel the mystery behind Jinwoo's most significant shadows that accompany him on his journey from the weakest hunter to the strongest of all. From his loyal supporters to the formidable foes he commands, each shadow holds a unique story and strength that defines Jinwoo's evolution. Together they represent his growth and the trials he faces while navigating the perilous worlds of hunters, and will also explore their backgrounds, abilities, and how they contribute to Jinwoo's rise to power. Whether you're a diehard fan or new to the series, this analysis will provide you with the deeper insight into the importance of each shadow in Jinwoo's life. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss out on any updates. First off, let's start with Jinwoo's first shadow, Igris, also formerly known as the Blood Red Commander Igris, a knight originally in crimson red armor with a red streak of cloth flowing from the back of his head. After Jinwoo had extracted Igris, his armor had turned black while keeping the red streak of cloth flowing on the back of his head, as well as a scar from his battle with Jinwoo. Jinwoo first extracted Igris after a desperate life of death battle on the Job Change Quest dungeon. He was able to extract Igris after his third attempt by appealing to Igris' loyal personality. Now, he also served the Shadow Monarch Ashborn as one of his lieutenants during the war against the rulers, and after Ashborn had retired, he was tasked with testing his successor. Igris is loyal and respectful to the point that he tends to kneel to his master every time after he finishes a battle, and he is a master swordsman with immense speed, agility, and intelligence, only one of the two martial grade shadows Jinwoo has. Even without his sword, he is also highly proficient in hand-to-hand combat, and he also has the Dominator's Touch, which makes Igris able to move and control objects without having to touch them, which is basically telekinesis. And this ability is later on gained by Jinwoo after his fight with Igris as well. Fun fact, Igris likes to bring the head of his skills to Jinwoo as an offering to him. The second shadow Jinwoo acquires is Tank, also known as the Alpha Ice Bear from the Red Gate. Tank has a light purple glow, visible scar on his left eye, and the anime is on the right, and a thin flaming strip of hair along his head in the back, a large X-shaped scar on his chest. Tank was acquired during the Red Gate during a fight with a horde of ice bears. As an ice bear, Tank behaves like a typical animal, ramming through enemies with brute force and rips them apart with his claws and teeth. He is a knight grade shadow and has displayed signs of intelligence as he has worked with Iron to defeat Kargal generals. As a knight grade shadow, he is powerful as an A-rank hunter. Tank was also strong enough to plow through a horde of demons and kill a Naga with one blow. After Tank, Jinwoo acquired Iron, an elite knight grade shadow formerly known as the A-rank hunter Kim Chol from the White Tiger Guild, an arrogant man who was too confident in his skills and was disrespectful to hunters ranked lower than him. He had blamed the deaths of his comrades on anything else aside from his planning and leadership. He shapes after his appearance, armor, and weapon as he was when he was alive, and when he had evolved into an elite knight grade shadow, his axe became larger and had gotten a smoky appearance to it. Jinwoo summoned Iron while facing Barca. During his fight with Barca, Kim Chol attempted to kill Jinwoo, only to be killed by Igris instead. Jinwoo immediately summoned Iron to help him fight against Barca, ultimately killing him with his battle axe. Aside from that, Iron did not really play a major role as the story progressed, and also picked up the habit of bringing enemies' heads to Jinwoo from Igris. Iron's abilities include enhanced strength and durability. He also has the Shout of Provocation, which is basically able to taunt his enemies, prompting them to attack him without thinking. This ability does not work on enemies stronger than him, however. After Jinwoo used the Cup of Reincarnation, Iron was actually erased and returned back into his human self. He was also a dummy even when he was reborn as a shadow. The next shadow that Jinwoo gets is Tusk, named Kiba in the anime, a general grade shadow formerly known as Kargal, a shadow who brings raw primal aggression to the mix. Imagine a beastly figure with red skin and prominent tusks with blue eyes. Tusk was acquired during the battle of the Demon Arc Castle when Jinwoo had to save the other hunters from Kargal and his army. In a fight that was as brutal as it was, Jinwoo faced off against High Orc shamans led by Kargal. Despite multiple failed attempts, thanks to Kargal's strong personality, Jinwoo eventually managed to absorb Tusk into his shadow army. During the Jeju Island raid, Tusk played a major role by using his magic to support the raid with his AoE spells to help clear the ends. Also during the International Guild Conference, he was used to demonstrate Jinwoo's power in the United States. Now a general grade shadow, Tusk is known for being obedient, quiet, and even a bit shy, although he can be competitive with the other shadows even when he needs to. Ever since his extraction, Tusk has been the go-to shadow, particularly when his powerful magical abilities are needed to clear enemy ranks. His ability, Gravitational Magic, which lets him levitate and hurl targets with devastating force, and an array of potent hymns such as the Hymn of Protection, Hymn of Agony, Frenzy, and many more that can turn the tide of battle. Tusk is one of the few shadows of Jinwoo that focus primarily on magic. After Tusk, Jinwoo had gained Kaisel, which is an elite knight shadow formerly known as Kaisel, a large white wyvern with yellow eyes and 6 horns. As a shadow, his scales turn black with purple wings and horns. Kaisel originally served as the battle mount for the Monarch Baron. Unlike many of his fellow shadows who focus on combat, Kaisel's mostly true strength lies in his ability to fly at unimaginable speeds. His agility and flight make him indispensable to Jinwoo when he can use Shadow Exchange. Though he isn't primarily built for head-on combat, Kaisel's speed allows him to execute surprise attacks and evade enemies' attacks with ease. After Baron's defeat, Jinwoo extracted Kaiselin's shadow, and he could not remember the name, so he just basically went with Kaisel. Beru is one of Jinwoo's most important shadows because Beru is a martial grade shadow formerly known as the Ant King. A shadow with devastating power and unexpected quirks, is a large humanoid ant with a black exoskeleton, smoky wings, and sharp claws. The Ant King, a terrifying S-rank monster who had killed most of the S-rank hunters from Japan and defeated the Korean hunters with ease in a battle that put the other hunters to shame. Jinwoo extracted the Ant King's shadow, named it Beru, and sent him to kill the remaining ants. Shortly after, Beru was used to test Shahain when she wanted to join the Ajin Guild, nearly killing her before Jinwoo stopped the fight. Beru's quirky personality makes him one of Jinwoo's most biggest fangirls, especially outside of battle. He is also very brutal towards the enemies and even condescending to his fellow soldiers. Beru's abilities include immense strength, speed, and durability, Gluttony, which is the ability to absorb the skills and knowledge of those that he consumes, Healing Magic, which he gained from Byung-Gyu, Flight, Size Manipulation, Harsh Orders, which can increase another individual's stats by 50% at the cost of their sanity for a brief period of time, and Paralysis Poison. Beru's unexpected love for historical dramas and his playful interactions with Jinwoo makes him actually one of the most beloved shadows among the fans of solo leveling. After Beru was extracted, he moved on to the Ant Queen, a general grade shadow, a giant ant with white armor and purple eyes. The Ant Queen was one of the biggest dungeon breaks that happened, leaving Korea to abandon Jeju Island for 3 failed attempts to get it back. She had given birth to the Ant King to help him get out of Jeju Island, as the ants were resorting to cannibalism to survive. After she was extracted, Beru had informed Jinwoo that her main ability was to reproduce and make more ants, which she was not able to do as a shadow, leading Jinwoo to canceling her extraction. She was only a shadow soldier for less than a few minutes, as Beru stated that she did not hold any significant advantage while in battle. After the cancellation of the Ant Queen extraction, Jinwoo turned to extract Byung-Gyu, an elite knight shadow that had spiky black hair as a human, while in his shadow form wearing a hooded cloak with white eyes and a spellbook in his right hand. Despite his decision to set out the 4th Jeju Island raid, Byung-Gyu changed his mind and joined the Jeju Island raid party the next day. During the raid itself, he assisted his teammates by giving them stat buffs and quickly healing them whenever they got injured. Jinwoo used shadow extraction on Byung-Gyu's shadow from his body after being killed by the Ant King. While healing Shahain, he pleaded with her to warn Jinwoo to be careful with his powers, which led to Jinwoo to find the source of his powers. Once resurrected as a shadow, Byung-Gyu was released after he had healed Shahain as a request from Hunter by Jono. His abilities are Healing Magic, Buff Magic, and Disguise. He had retired after the 3rd raid on Jeju Island after losing his friend Inseok, a fellow S-rank hunter, and his combat abilities actually match an A-rank hunter, even though he's a healer. After the Jeju Island arc, the next shadow that Jinwoo got was Jima, an elite knight shadow formerly known as the Boss Naga, a serpent-like creature that holds a pair of black tridents with not much information. Once resurrected as a shadow, Jima served as one of Jinwoo's biggest shadows, where it could manipulate its size to accommodate for a situation. His abilities include enhanced strength and size manipulation. Jima actually has scales thick enough to be used as armor or shield. After Jima, Jinwoo tried to extract Kamish, a general grade shadow extracted from the dragon that first ever S-rank gate, which destroyed the west coast of the United States. Kamish is a red western style dragon with glowing yellow eyes, which later turned into a black dragon with purple horns once extracted by Jinwoo. Kamish was defeated by the 5 national level hunters, but Jinwoo later extracted his shadow to bring him back to life. While in a weakened form due to the time between his death and resurrection, he tried to attack the people behind Jinwoo when he was being extracted, but was stopped by the Shadow Monarch. During his time as a Shadow, he had told Jinwoo that he served Antares when he was alive and that there were hunters serving as vessels for rulers, and that he needed to be wary of them. His abilities are immense strength and durability, Dragon Fear, a mana-infused roar from his soul that would drive those weaker than him into a state of intense despair and panic, and Dragon's Breath. Thomas Andre actually gifted Jinwoo Kamish's Wrath, a pair of large light orange daggers made from his fangs. Greed is a general grade shadow extracted from Hwang Dong-soo. Greed was once a ruthless S-rank hunter famous for his overconfidence and murderous intentions. Years after he defected to the United States, he had gone back to Korea to avenge his brother, looking for his killer. Hwang Dong-soo's rage was fueled by personal vendettas that drove him to extreme measures, including the abduction of Yoo Jin-oh, in an attempt to lure Jinwoo to an abandoned factory. However, his brutal tactics and thirst for vengeance ultimately led to a brutal showdown with Jinwoo, who overpowered and killed him. When he was extracted as a Shadow, Greed retained much of Hwang Dong-soo's power, but not his personality. He became a quiet and humble servant. In Shadow form, he appears as a tall, muscular figure wreathed in swirling black energy with a white mask and red eyes. Greed's main ability is mainly enhanced strength and speed. After Jinwoo used the Cup of Reincarnation, he was erased and was brought back to life as a human. Lastly, Jinwoo's strongest Shadow, Bellion, a Grand Marshal grade Shadow who stands at the top of Jinwoo's army. A large muscular warrior in dark ornate armor with 2 pairs of black wings and a single horn on his helmet. Bellion was first created by the previous Shadow Monarch, Ashburn, using the Fruit of the World Tree. A tree so large is said to stretch its branches across the entire sky. After Jinwoo gained Ashburn's power and defeated the 3 monarchs, Bellion came out of one of the biggest gates alongside the rest of Ashburn's army. Recognizing Jinwoo as his rightful new master, Bellion pledged his loyalty and took his place at Jinwoo's side. As the only Grand Marshal grade Shadow, he surpasses Beru and Igris in sheer power and skill. His abilities include immense strength, speed, sword mastery, whip mastery, and flight. Bellion actually thinks that combat ability is the most important skill to have and argues with Igris that Sung Soo-ho should be learning how to use a sword instead of going to school. These are all of Jinwoo's shadows that you'll actually be able to see as the anime continues to progress, or for those of you that don't want to wait for the anime to keep coming out, you can actually read the manhwa to find out about them. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think and what you want me to cover next regarding the story of Solo Leveling. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.